Hey everyone, it's Krystallee here. So I'm really excited to bring this next episode about self-care and just to talk further about what other self-care options are available to you. And I really love this one because this one resonates with me deeply. And the reason why I say that is I've been using it pretty much my whole life from childhood to adulthood. And only as of recently, it's really sunk in and done some major difference. And there's a reason why. So, I really want to introduce the idea of self care as, yes, some other topical things and bodily things that we can do for ourselves. But how do we nurture the insides of us, the care that we need to bring on the inside? And there's many ways aside from what I'm going to mention, but this is, in my opinion, one of the most impactful ways to do it. So, therapy is something that there's many forms, first of all, of therapy. And therapy has this kind of misconception that it's only for certain types of people. You have a stigma tied to it if you do therapy. It's almost like a weakness. And I really want to break that because, as part of self care, caring for ourselves, sometimes we need therapy in order to get to the next level or break some habits or change some thoughts or come to terms with things. And it can actually be a very healing process. So, in my opinion, therapy has brought me to the next stage in my life and given me a whole new perspective on what's available to me, what I'm capable of, and also made me aware of what was holding me back. So let's just dive down and just see and understand and feel what therapy would feel like in a self care application. So, why would anyone want to go to therapy? Well, it's an opportunity to explore your thoughts, your feelings, and patterns of behavior. And who wouldn't want to know? And who wouldn't want to dive deeper in how they're feeling and what they're thinking, and also their behavior traits? And I know for my own self that this was something really important because sometimes you can't pinpoint the feeling. It almost seems overwhelming. And sometimes you can't really get it out there to other people because they may not understand you or may have some sort of tied connection to it. And your thoughts, like such a critical part of therapy. What our thoughts do creates our actions. And so our thoughts create our feelings, which create our actions, which create our events. And when we think about that, that means every thought that we think sends a signal to what we need to do. So our mind is connected to our body, but our mind is sending us signals for our bodies to react in a way. And that's what's so important about trying to understand the mind body connection, which we'll dive down in some other videos about it. But just understanding this from a therapeutic point of view of why you can utilize therapy to get deeper and to really try to understand these points of your life and get to the nitty gritty of things and really, I don't know, dissect it, get curious with it, be interested in it, and know that there's alternative routes to it. So, what goal do people have when they go to therapy? So, everybody's goal would be different, but the ultimate goal is to feel better, to gain something from it, and to develop ourselves in a way where we can move through life a different way. And I think that's so important to remember because a lot of people go there and maybe they're just offloading or venting or just using it as a sounding board, which is great. And that's a very good purpose for it. And it should be done. But also, then wanting to change all of that. So as you're letting these things go and verbally iterating them, also deciding if you want to let it go and and understand how that looks like for yourself. And when you have that goal in mind of what you want to do with whatever you go there with or for, whatever that goal is will come to you, but you have to really want that. You need to want the change for change to happen. You need to really desire it and crave it and wish for it. It has to be something that you truly incredibly want so bad that it is the ultimate goal to achieve afterwards. So therapy can really help give you that breakthrough to bring you to that level of achieving your goal and really allowing all the things that you came in with subside and come out to a better outcome. So, some of the benefits of therapy is creating hope within the person who's the client. And why do we need hope? Well, hope keeps us moving forward, it keeps us looking forward. It's a motivation in a sense. And if you don't have hope, then you have nothing going for you. So we need to reignite that hope. We need to know that it's possible. We need to feel the fire of hope. It'll fuel us to do whatever we need to do. So hope is a fuel for whatever you're trying to achieve or gain out of your therapy session. And then gaining a new perspective. So this is a great benefit of therapy is gaining a new perspective. And it's not always the therapist's perspective. Of course, they can provide suggestions or some thoughts or stories, but really it's how you're perceiving it and how you'll gain a different perspective afterwards. So as much as they can suggest, those suggestions have to resonate with you and you have to accept them as a possibility. And the perspective that you gain could be a lot better, or maybe you understand things differently, or maybe you have some clarity. So your perspective can alter and shift with therapy. And then, probably the most important one, because we're such social creatures, is it betters our relationships. And this is such an important one because it's the relationship with others, as well, more importantly, the relationship with ourselves. And that's the most important because if we don't have a good relationship with ourselves, how can we expect that we would have great relationships outside of us? So, strengthening our relationships, creating empathy, trust, care, all of these fundamental necessities of having a great relationship, strengthening that, learning that, developing that, realizing that, coming to some terms with that, and then implementing that can really help therapy give you this revolutionary perspective on your relationships with yourself and how you're treating yourself, how you look at yourself, the way you deal with yourself, the things you do to yourself, and some of your habits. And also the relationships around you. It can really better them because once you start feeling better with yourself and the relationship you have with yourself, everything else around you, for whatever reason, works in the same way. So your relationships would be better. And maybe your attitude towards them would be much more improved. And maybe even the way you interact and interpret things. That also could be very beneficial too to better your relationship. And we need these social relationships. We are social creatures. We need this interaction. So why not make it a healthy one with ourselves and with other people? So, those are the benefits of therapy. There's also long term benefits. And this is like when you've done the therapy and then like lifetime, like the lifetime after this. Like, this is the long term benefits that you can enjoy with therapy. And the first thing is learning to enhance your lifelong coping skills. Like, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to have amazing coping skills that you can take from now onward and just keep building them and adding to them and developing them just so we can deal with things when they come to us? And this isn't saying that there's gonna not be hard times. Life does have a lot of hard times that get thrown at us, lots of different curveballs. But It's how we're going to respond and interpret and allow ourselves to dive into them and react to them will give us the overall outcome of that situation or whatnot. So we need to really understand that there is some coping strategies that would be really helpful and really necessary in really hard, troubling times. And when you can whip that out of your coping tool belt, it'll be so much easier for you to regain yourself and stabilize yourself again. So changing your interactions with people, I kind of already touched on this, but this is like the long-term benefit. Like sometimes people have maybe had some parental issues and they're holding some resentment. And we're mortal beings. We're not going to be here forever. And maybe you're ready to let it go. And you may just decide it's time. And when you decide it's time, then you can be at peace with yourself. And then your interaction with them would be different. It'd be probably more enhanced or go your way and suit you more so. And that's the whole point is regaining your control and your capabilities with these interactions with people. It could even just be somebody you don't even know. Maybe it's the lady at the grocery store and she's a little put offish and having a bad day and not being ultra polite to you. And maybe that rubs you the wrong way if you're feeling down, but maybe you can understand that people are going through things. We're not robots. We have these emotions and feelings, and maybe give that person just a bit more rope to, allow them to be the way they are rather than finding some offense towards it. And know that everybody's hopefully doing their best and of course trying their best. So feeling happier. The happy thing. We're all looking for happiness. It's like something like over the rainbow. And happiness just happens inside. It's an inside job. And there's not really one way of being happy. So we have this like illusion thinking like happiness is a certain way, but actually it's whatever resonates with us and makes us happy. So you have to kind of get back in tune with that. Go back to the times where you were happy and focus in on that. What made you happy during that time? What brought you happiness? What created that happiness? And therapy can really help reconnect you with what your happiness looks like. It breaks down all these things that are so limiting about happiness, even the idea that you can never have happiness again. And it really gives you back the chance to experience it again by the choices that you make and the decisions that you make. So happiness is a lifelong capability if you just know how and what you need to tap into it. Increasing your productivity. Now, I always talk about quality over quantity, but productivity to me is also, aside from just quantity and pumping it out all the time, it's really, in my opinion, about the quality of what we're putting out there. So when you're productive, you're doing things really well. Things are successful. You're finding success. You're looking at things differently. Productivity is getting things done, but doing it your way, where you can feel a sense of self fulfillment and satisfaction from it. So that's what I think in my mind is productivity, not the fastest or quickest or most economic way to do things. Although that's a great thing, I just think that productivity in a wholeheartedness way of looking at it from a human standpoint is about the quality of your output. So if that resonates with you, I hope it does because we are in such we're in such times in the modern world of always needing to get things done faster. Our agendas are full. We're constantly moving quickly without even stopping to like smell the roses. Like what an unfortunate place to be. And that phrase, like stop and smell the roses, like I think we've all forgotten about that because we're so concerned with productivity, but productivity from a time standpoint, not from a quality standpoint. And then improving chronic stress. So this is so major because chronic stress leads to burnout, and chronic stress is quite challenging to overcome and mitigate. And looking at chronic stress is a whole conversation in itself. And I will do a video about chronic stress because there's so many layers to it. But just know when you're in therapy, there is a way to heal the chronic stress by diving down to the root cause of the stressors. So, how much time do you need to allocate for therapy to make a difference? Well, it's really all up to you. And it always comes down to the person because we're all different and we're all unique, and things settle with others differently than someone else. So, just committing the time, whatever you can commit. Don't put a time maybe on it. That sounds even better. Don't put a time, but take the first session and go with it and see where it takes you. And then maybe you feel like you need to work on something else. Go with it and also explore that and see where it takes you. So it's like a lifelong journey. And I think that's why I've been in it for so long is well, starting as a child, that was a little different. It was helping me find my coping skills. But now as an adult, it's more like reminding me of what my coping skills are, reconnecting with things that I've lost touch with, and also discovering some new things and trying to create my adult life in the way where it suits me and it benefits me and it works for me. And that's the most important part of therapy. It has to work for you. That's the whole point. It's all about you. So if you want it and these are some goals that you have in mind and some things that you want to move forward and past from, then invest the time, invest the desire to want that. And I guarantee you'll get the results you're looking for. So, what do you need to do? So, what do you need to do? You just need to want it. You need to want change and you need to want different and you need to want to have whatever you haven't had and whatever you're lacking. And you need to want it so badly because that's the only way to get it. And if you kind of only want it, then you're kind of on the fence with it. So maybe that's not something you really want to think about. But when it's like burning within you, when your body's telling you everything about you, every sensation within you that it needs to happen, it needs to change, it needs to get better, it needs to go this way, it needs to go that way, then that's your indicator that yeah, this has certainly been bothering me in my life and I really need to move forward and past this. So what do you need to do? You need to have a clear mind, an agenda of what you want, a goal set out of what you want that to look like, and then make the call, pull the trigger, get somebody that you have done the research that will give you the therapy that you need in order to make that change. So, how will you benefit out of this? Well, there's so many benefits. Like, it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Everybody would benefit differently, but you've given yourself the opportunity to explore your feelings without judgment, without criticism. You've given yourself the opportunity to just let go and express yourself, any feelings or worries that you may have, just completely non-judgmental environment, which is such a tranquil place to be. It's not somewhere we can go to frequently. There's judgment happening all around us. So this is kind of like a temple of creating a non-judgmental environment so you can just express and be. Developing coping strategies for different situations. Your benefits would be huge with that because your coping strategies are what gets you through things, problems, situations, challenges, good, bad, anything. These coping strategies will help you move through every part of life. And knowing what makes a good strategy for you is something really important to understand and to come to terms with. So, searching for that's something I really, really suggest people look into. Then, practicing the self reflection and awareness. So, when you're aware of these things, when you've thought with yourself, been with yourself, turn your eyes in internally and really think to yourself about what's bothering you, what's coming up for you, and what needs to change in order for things to be better, to be released, to be letting go of, to be just let the shackles go. Whatever that is, you know, self-reflection and awareness can bring you that realization, and it's such a powerful tool. So don't ignore what's going on in your head and your body. Tune into it, focus on it, write it down, make a video, whatever it may be, whatever you're feeling, just to narrate it to yourself and know that this is maybe something you want to change. This is so powerful, the power of awareness. And when we bring awareness to something, we can change it. And then working on habits you'd like to change. Let's be quite frank. We all have habits we can change. We all want to develop better habits. Who wouldn't want to have phenomenal habits? I know I do. And yeah, we all have habits that we don't like, you know? Even our partners, could be family members, people we live with, friends, they all have habits that we have to deal with, we have to put up with because nobody is perfect. But maybe you have a habit that's just a little bit worse than another habit that you have, and you don't really want it in your life. And it could be anything. It could be maybe watching too much TV, or maybe it's smoking, or maybe, I don't know, it's overthinking. It could be so many things. It could be a physical habit, a mental habit, an emotional habit. Maybe you're always quick to jump on things. Maybe you just feel, you know, unfortunate all the time about things and saddened and just at your just at your wits end. And so these habits are ingrained in us. So therapy can really help break those and also help you discover and also build. And then really benefiting from therapy just helps you improve and understand everything overall. Your thinking, situations at hand, everything. And I think that's so great because who wouldn't want to understand why they're thinking or feeling or experiencing things in a certain way, what's happening within their mind and body? Who wouldn't want to understand it better? You would definitely want to understand it better. I want to understand it better. So, therapy is really beneficial. I hope you got a lot from that. I'll go down a little deeper about the kind of therapy I do when I make my next self care video, maybe just highlighting the one I'm using. So I love, in my opinion, hypnotherapy. It's the most revolutionary therapy, in my opinion, to get into the mind. And that's where all change occurs, is in the mind. That's where therapy should happen, is in the mind. I mean, you're expressing your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, which all stem from the mind. So why not go in and target it? So this isn't that complicated, but it would be really beneficial if you seeked somebody that was really, truly a genius with this, that can really tap into your problems by utilizing your mind. And that's what hypnotherapy is. And I want to break the myths of hypnosis and what's always been put out in the market as the way it happens. I just want to break it down to make you understand that it is about deep diving into your mind, but also healing it in a way where you have the choices back again to be a different way, think a different way, feel a different way. And when you have that power to have that choice back, I think you'll be able to regain the life that you want back and not be held down by whatever's holding you back. So I'm sorry to leave you with that hanger, but I think it's something that's worth talking about, and just wanted to give you the gist of therapy as a whole for self care. It's about taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind. When you take care of your mind, you take care of your body. And what better way to take care of yourself than taking care of your mind? and it can bring you the most beneficial and the most amazing things in life. And it can also put you in a direction where it completely matches with who you are. So if you like this video, I'd love you to hit the like button, subscribe, share it with whomever you feel would benefit from this. And I look forward to bringing you another video diving deeper into self-care and utilizing hypnotherapy and how that works for me, and bringing more information overall about some self-care strategies. So I hope you're able to get some value out of that today. I'll see you soon.